we did. We found some of the cheapest gas prices in the state right now. Right behind me is the Amoco gas station, and as you can see, they're looking at about $2.12 a gallon.
We know prices can vary, of course, depending on where you are. Also, with that in mind, don't be surprised if you run into some congestion on the roads. AAA is also projecting about 89% of travelers across the U.S. will be driving somewhere for their holiday gatherings.
Look at the numbers on that gas pump. $2.30? $2.15? In Houston and Dallas, people are actually bragging about it at dinner. It feels like we finally won. But check your mail. That electric bill you just opened isn't a mistake. While gas prices are hitting a 5-year low, your power bill is being hijacked. The ERCOT load is spiking again. We're at 98% capacity, and it's not even summer yet. Is it the weather? No. It's the new data center cluster in North Texas. They're pulling enough power to run 3 cities, and they have priority contracts. If we don't shed residential load now, the whole northern hub collapses. You're saying we have to brown out the suburbs so the AI servers stay cool? I'm saying if we don't, nobody has power by midnight. Here is the part they aren't telling you. Texas is currently in a resource war. We are producing record amounts of oil and gas, nearly 6 million barrels a day. But we can't build power lines fast enough to move it. The result? A massive 45% projected spike in wholesale electricity prices for the ERCOT-North hub in 2026. While the rest of the country sees a 4% rise, Texas is facing a 9.2% surge in demand, triple the national average. We have the fuel, we just don't have the room on the grid to give it to you. So, while you're enjoying that cheap gallon of gas today, you're literally paying for it through your walls. Your average monthly bill is already $231, the highest it's ever been. Is Texas becoming an energy powerhouse that can't even power itself? We are standing in the middle of a massive economic paradox. On one side, the Permian Basin is pumping oil at a rate that would make a 1970s oil tycoon weep with joy. 6 million barrels a day. It is a flood of energy so massive that it has pushed the price of a gallon of gas in Texas down to levels the rest of the country hasn't seen in half a decade. You see $2.33 at the pump and you feel like you're winning. You feel like the energy capital of the world is finally paying dividends to its citizens. But look closer at the horizon. Those massive, windowless concrete warehouses rising up outside of Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio? Those aren't just buildings. They are the energy vampires of the new era. By the end of 2026, electricity demand in Texas is projected to grow by a staggering 14%, compared to roughly 2% across the rest of the United States, meaning Texas is moving 7 times faster than the national average. And this acceleration is exactly why you subscribe to Track. What's driving it? Because the gold rush isn't for gold anymore, but for compute, with AI data centers and cryptocurrency mines flooding into the state, drawn by the promise of cheap, deregulated power. One single data center campus being completed this year in Abilene will pull 1.2 gigawatts of power. That is the equivalent of a full-scale nuclear reactor's output. One building. And there are dozens more just like it. We're seeing a load increase of 22 gigawatts since just last year, a grid analyst mutters, staring at a screen filled with rising red bars. That's like adding the entire state of Ohio to our grid in 18 months. We can't build the wires fast enough. His colleague doesn't look up. It's not just the wires, it's the priority. Look at the industrial contracts. If the grid hits Stage 3 emergency, these data centers have interruptible clauses. But the AI hubs? They've negotiated firm power. They stay on. The neighborhoods go dark. This is the high-stakes gamble happening in boardroom meetings right now. While you're enjoying that cheap gas, the very fuel that should be powering your home is being diverted. Texas is a gas state, but in the winter of 2026, we're seeing a terrifying repeat of the freeze-off phenomenon. When the temperature drops in West Texas, the water in the natural gas lines freezes at the wellhead, Production doesn't just slow down, it screeches to a halt. In a normal year, that's a problem. In 2026, with an extra 14% demand from the tech sector, it's a catastrophe. We're losing 2 billion cubic feet of gas production a day because of the freeze. The field operator shouts over the wind in Midland. The Houston hub is screaming for supply. The dispatcher replies, "If we don't get the pressure up, the generators are going to trip. I can't give you what I don't have. The equipment is iced over, and the backup heaters just blew a fuse." This is the supply-demand trap. We have the most energy-rich land on the planet, but we are losing the ability to move that energy from the ground to your light switch. The EIA is now forecasting that wholesale electricity prices at the ERCOT-North hub will spike by 45% this year. Think about that. 45%. While the headline says gas prices are down, your monthly cost of living is quietly being liquidated. You are paying a grid tax that doesn't show up at the pump. It shows up in your $400 August electric bill when you're trying to keep your family from overheating in 105-degree weather. The uneasy truth is that the Texas energy miracle is being cannibalized from the inside out. We are building a digital future on a physical infrastructure that was never designed to hold it. The question isn't whether the grid will fail. The question is, when it does, who gets the last remaining spark? You or the machines? We are now entering the era of the two-tiered grid. While you are worrying about whether your thermostat is set to 78 or 82 degrees to save $10, the biggest corporations on Earth are moving into Texas to play a completely different game. We're talking about massive hyperscale data centers, the engines behind AI, and the global cloud. By the end of 2026, these facilities, along with industrial crypto mining, will account for more than 60% of the growth in U.S. electricity sales. And 2/3 of that entire national growth is happening right here in Texas. But here is the high-stakes reality they don't put in the brochures. The grid is a zero-sum game. When a new 1.2 gigawatt AI hub plugs into the ERCOT-North hub near Dallas, it doesn't just add to the economy. It outbids you for the existing supply. We have a massive imbalance on the board. A lead trader at a major Texas utility says, rubbing his eyes in a dark control room. What's the spread? Wholesale prices just hit $5,000 per megawatt hour. We're paying through the nose to keep the lights on in the suburbs, but the data centers have fixed-rate industrial contracts. They aren't even flinching. We're the ones bleeding cash. Can we shed their load? Legally? No. Their contracts are non-interruptible. If we have to cut power tonight, it's going to be the residential feeders in Frisco and Plano. The servers stay cold. The families stay hot. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a contractual reality, because large commercial users are increasingly shielded from the very volatility that is about to destroy your household budget. Which is why you subscribe to follow how the exposure is being shifted since the Texas Energy Fund was supposed to be the fix. A $10 billion taxpayer-funded loan program to build more natural gas plants, but even with $2.6 billion already allocated to projects like the massive 1,350 megawatt plant in West Texas, the catch is that none of those plants will be fully operational until 2027 or 2028. That leaves 2026 as the danger zone. We are in the gap between the old world and the new. We are producing record oil, but the resource war is being won by those who can afford the infrastructure to consume it. Right now, Texas is projected to see a 9.2% surge in electricity demand this year alone. That is triple the national average. Sir, the forecast was off. We underestimated the AI load materialization by 15%. And the supply? Stagnant. Solar is helping during the day, but as soon as that sun sets over the Permian, we're flying blind. If the wind doesn't pick up in the next hour, we're looking at a statewide Level 3 emergency. The uneasy truth is that your cheap gas is the bait. While you're distracted by the $2.30 sign at the corner station, Your real cost of living is being quietly shifted into a monthly utility bill that is becoming a second mortgage. Texas is now the state with the highest energy consumption in the country, but for the first time in history, we are struggling to feed our own hunger. By this summer, when the temperature hits 110 and the grid starts to groan under the weight of 1 million AI processors humming in the desert, you'll realize the truth. In the new Texas, power isn't just a utility. It's a luxury. So, when the lights flicker this August, don't look at the sky, look at the warehouses. Subscribe to see the moves before they hit the grid, because in the battle for the Texas network, the machines have already placed their bets, and they have deeper pockets than you do, which means the question is no longer if your bill will go up, but how much of your paycheck you're willing to sacrifice to keep the AI's fans spinning.